Hey, welcome to, what month is this, March? The March Metroport Veteran Association Monthly Breakfast. Would you all please stand and let's honor our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing. Up here at the front, we have a place set for those who are not able to be with us today. Let's honor them with a moment of silence. And Lord God, I ask that you bless those that are here, bless those who are standing in harm's way, and protect and guide our country. Amen. Please have a seat. We are going to start in the back, right over there in that corner. If you would please, just stand, say your name, branch of the military, if you deployed, if you want to say that. Keep it to like 5 seconds, and then we'll go around the room.
Deadlock Stitches, Marine Corps, +2 smaller.
Deadlock Squeaky, Marine Corps, 22nd Unit, 2004.
Deadlock Nuts, USS.
Right behind you.
Kelly Castonboy, Patriot.
Kerry Ragbir, U.S. Navy.
Back.
John Winters, United States Navy.
James, John.
General Winters. Mayor?
Joey Patterson, State.
Deadlock Abacus, Marine Corps.
Right.
Deadlock Rayman, first time first Marines, Afghanistan.
Nope, can't skip you.
Megan Panic, I'm Secretary of Auxiliary at the VFW.
Joe Doug Shucker, United States Marine Corps.
Deadlock Wally, Marine Corps.
Dennis Sheridan, Army, Vietnam.
Emily Lavich, Air Force.
Kurt Lattice, Air Force.
Give me a minute.
Yeah. You can have all the time you want.
Don Graves, grave situation.
Very nice. Steve Archer, Army.
Nicole Archer, I'm the Development Director at Gallup View.
Patrick Alcorn, Army.
My name is Tommy Rose Jr., United States Air Force, KG Land, Korea.
Andrew Augustin, I'm a Patriot. Rachel DeBreeze, Coast Guard.
Don Stables, Marine Corps, HMH 363, Helicopter Squadron.
Jacob Walpole, U.S. Navy, USS Passage.
Mark Bartels, U.S. Army, Germany, 773. Gary Ash, Navy CV.
Doug Rose, Air Force Master Sergeant. Yeah, I'll do the best.
And when have you not wanted to stand up in front of a crowd? That's why. Scott?
When the Marines outnumber us, Scott Spence, Air Force, A-10, 2 deployments to Bosnia.
We only need one Marine to outnumber you.
Did you say one Marine two? Is that Marine half?
We ran out of crayons.
Michelle Spence, Patriot.
Fran Lynn, just random.
Robert Dad, U.S. Army. Heavy artillery?
What?
Huh?
Same here in the artillery army.
Kathy Jones, Army.
And I'm Carl Monger, Army. A couple of people I want to do some special quick recognition to. We've got town council members and the mayor. If you would just raise your hand there. So I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. And how about MUD directors? Any MUD directors here? I know we've got former town council members and MUD directors here. Gallup View board members. Patrick's our board chair. Andrea, who else? Kerry in the back. Do we have any other Gallup View board members? I don't want to miss anybody because they're technically my boss. Nicole, it's wonderful to see you and your husband here. It's great. Nicole joined our team was it October?
September.
September, yeah, and she's really knocking it out of the park. We're so excited to have her with us. This young lady up here who's gonna die of embarrassment, Fran, her family came from Vietnam. Her father served in the South Vietnamese Army, and when Saigon fell, her family had to evacuate. I'm really gonna embarrass you, because she was conceived in Vietnam but born in the US. And her older brother served in the United States Army. So Fran climbs with us all the time, and I invited her to come. She'll never come back again because I'm embarrassed the crap out of her. But we love this gal dearly, and we're really, really glad that Fran came today. I was speaking at Rotary yesterday, and Mark came up to me afterwards. And Mark told me a really funny story that I thought you guys would like to hear. And he said that as the draft ended, he was like in the last group of draftees. So he like 2 weeks more and the draft would have been gone and he would not have been drafted. And he goes to basic training and there are enlistees that are there that volunteered. And he said as a draftee, they had to march to the range that was what? 20 miles uphill through the snow both ways. But it was a long hump, right? And he said the draftees came in, they gave them all cattle cars to ride in. So they all got to ride to the range and back.
The non-draftees, the volunteer.
Well, that's right, the volunteers, the non-draftees. So immediately there was this change in the way that one group of soldiers were treated and another group of soldiers were treated. And they could see it while they were in. And so I thought that was fascinating for him to share that. One of these days, he needs to come back up and tell his story, but add that part, because last time you spoke, you did not include that part, and that's a really cool story. Let's go with announcements. Mayor, you have an announcement? I won't forget about you.
Yes, I do. I'd like to-
Come on up.
Well, I just want to say, as Mayor of Trophy Club, it's always my honor to speak to the residents in Trophy Club because I take it as a great privilege and honor. But today especially, I want to share with you. Today especially, I want to, got to turn your hearing aids. Today especially, I want to share with you something very special that is happening right here in Trophy Club, and it directly involves you. So I'm going to start with, you may or may not know, but the Metroport Veterans Association started in July 2015. Did you know that?
Even
And
though the shirt says 24.
three dedicated veterans from Trophy Club came together with a shared vision to establish a veterans group within the community that would serve as a support network and a source of camaraderie for those who had served their country. This vision led to the creation of the Trophy Club Veterans Association. And I won't read the rest of it because with that vision, it incorporated in Trophy Club. Trophy Club, as you may or may not know, we have many various different activities in the Trophy Club honoring our veterans. In the memorial service, May the 30th, be there. The Patriotic Day, the flags, the 4th of July, the Veterans Service, be there. And also at the end of the year is the Veterans Wreaths Across America. Within that, our culture in Trophy Club over the last 40 years has embedded patriotism. And as a result, we have a bill in the state of Texas to proclaim Trophy Club as the Texas Town of Patriotism. And that will be voted on this year, and it will be signed by Governor Abbott. And I want to say thank you to each one of you, whether you live in Trophy Club or out of, because patriotism is in this region. And we are so proud in Trophy Club to support that wonderful culture that few can say is embedded in our blood. Thank you so much. And it goes all the way back to 40 years ago, which leads me to invite you to our 40th year celebration on Monday night at the town hall at 6 o'clock. Be there. We love you. Thank you for your commitment. And I told the last, I come in here occasionally, but this group is crap. You're gonna have to go somewhere. You gotta find a
Don't tell Andy that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and the town trophy club appreciates you and all your leadership.
All right, that's pretty cool. Who else has an announcement? Doug?
If you weren't aware, on March 25th at 9:30, Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington, Ballpark Way and AT&T Way opens. It's the opening ceremony. They have an event on Saturday night, music and all kinds of things. If you go to the Medal of Honor Museum webpage, you may be able to get a ticket. It's free. I am going to be attending that, and I plan to attend the opening ceremony for the museum itself. So I'd like to see some other people there here. You'll get a chance to see me wear my uniform again, because I intend to wear my uniform to the opening ceremony. Thank you.
And thanks for not saying Congressional Medal of Honor.
I can piggyback on that. So my youngest daughter and her boyfriend, both Aggies, they got hired by the museum. They're the curators there. They worked for the city of Grapevine previous in the Nash Farms, that historical site, but they chose to move up.
Too cool.
Yeah.
Like it. Emily, you gotta have something.
Oh, you know me, I'm always planning. I'm already planning Memorial Day, and I put the challenge out to all our Marine visitors here today, that you come out and support us on Memorial Day. It's a great ceremony, and any of you that were here last month, Doug did a folding of the flags. We're gonna incorporate that into kind of an educational piece of that. It's always a very moving ceremony. Carl's our MC, so he keeps us all in mind. But we're already working on that.
Emily, thank you for the hard work that you do pulling that and the other events together. You're wonderful, and I really
And what
appreciate
time
it.
is that? That one's 10.
10 o'clock.
We try to get out before the heat sets in.
There was another announcement over here, sir?
So our brother Brits, also known as Zach, he works with Gallup Q. One of his battle buddies from Afghanistan recently passed. So he is not here today to be at his brother's memorial. I would just like everybody to take a moment of silence in respect for Alex, for Brits and his father.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna make Zach watch this later so he can take roll call, so he'll get to hear that. Others, yes. Nicole?
So if you guys follow us on social media or receive our newsletters, you know that Gallant Who's Gala is the end of this month. On the 29th, we have actually half of my committee is here. They've been helping me plan and organize. We have a lot of great raffles, live auctions, things like that, but ultimately it's a celebration of the mission that we do and an opportunity for you guys to meet the folks that are helping make our mission possible and serve you guys and the other veterans in the community as well. We'd love to see you there. If you're available on the 29th, more information is on our Facebook page, on our website, or you can email me or corner me after breakfast today. I'd love to answer questions and see you guys soon.
Thank you, Nicole. For anybody that's watching the YouTube video here, do breakfasts like this. The video right now, I might pan around in a minute and show the crowd here, but communities across the country need to do little veteran breakfasts like this or luncheons. Do a weekend, no alcohol, just get together, have some fellowship, hear a story, and get to be connected, because the things that grew out of this group, out of the Metroport Veteran Association, include the Memorial Day observance that we do, because there really was not one before MVA. That we have enhanced the 4th of July event. We've basically taken over and created a Veterans Day observance, as well as the Wreaths Across America and a bunch of other things. So small group of people coming up with some ideas can change the community, and now it's going to benefit the entire community with the designation, and that may attract more patriots to come live here. So that's awesome. Of course.
We'll have a form letter to support this. You want to always support Bill, so we will be communicating how you can get that letter signed and send it electronically, send it in to the right person to support Bill.
So watch the Trophy Club Town, the media, the releases that they do, and you'll find out how you can support that effort. Any other announcements? Patrick?
Just a quick save the date, October 8th to the 10th is the 6th annual Business Beyond the Battlefield Conference, where we educate, train, and inspire those individuals who are continuing to serve as business owners, growing the economy and communities where they live.
Thank you. We'll remind you of that as we get closer also. My last announcement is 4th of July. Think ahead about this. In the past, we've tried to do a veteran float and it really hasn't worked. So we're looking for ideas. How can the veterans participate in the 4th of July parade? Gary Ash has got a great suggestion for that. You want to bring it up now or you want to?
No, we can talk about it.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So one of the things is, I'm a huge, anybody knows my neighborhood, I'm a huge Corvette fan. I got 3 of them. I love those cars. To me, nothing says USA like a Chevrolet, right? So what we're looking at doing is getting a Corvette in the appropriate color for a branch of service. So we would have red for Marines, right? We have blue for Navy, right? And we'd have that lighter blue for the Air Force. We won't forget the Air Force. Now, of course, finding a green Corvette's gonna be a challenge for the Army folks here. But what we're looking at doing is having a Corvette representing each different branch of service, including SpaceX and our POW. On the side of the Corvette, it'll have the name of the veteran who's riding in that Corvette in the branch of service that they serve. So I'm going to be reaching out to the local Corvette community, looking for people like, hey, I need a blue one, a red one. I really don't care what year. So that's an idea that I discussed with Carl that we'd like to do.
Pretty cool. Thank you, Gary. And then if we do that, then the majority of veterans, I'm going to talk to the town and we're going to find a spot that we can all sit in together, right, along the parade route. So that'll be fun for everybody. Let's see, we got somebody new that came in. I'll put you on the spot. Tell us your name, branch of service.
My name is Chad Cummings. I serve in the Army.
Chad, welcome. Who else slipped in? Over here?
Joan Robbins. I just did a event support.
Thank you for being here, Joan. All right, any other announcements? You guys can read what's up there. We want to put some pictures of veterans together. Send us a shot of you. Anybody else? Last call.
No pictures.
Dr. Ragbir, come on up. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kerry Ragbir. Dr. Ragbir is a Gallant Few board member and Navy veteran. And I have no idea what he's going to talk about. Hopefully it's his service, but I'm really looking forward to hearing your story. And this is a great human being right here. So
Thank you, Carl.
let's go.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Morning. Packed room. Surprise. I didn't know so many people wanted to hear about gum disease.
Gum disease.
So after the last meeting, Doug had a great presentation here. And Zach asked me, hey, do you want to do one of these meetings? Then a week later, he texts me a picture of the flyer. Oh, wait, I'm doing it this week, this month? So I apologize if I don't have any presentation pictures, but I'm just going to talk from the heart. And this is one of the first times that I've actually been speaking in front of a large group like this. I'm usually great one-on-one, but when all the eyes are looking at me, it gets a little bit intimidating. So I appreciate your patience with me. I did make some notes, and I just wanted to share a couple of things. I'm very grateful to be here today. Like most of us, many of us didn't make it here. There's a funeral going on right now, and it saddens my heart because mental health is something that's really important to me. I feel as though it's the anchor. It's the anchor that everything else builds upon. Okay, and without the mental health being strong and stable, everything else falls apart. So, with that said, if you haven't done the asthma check, please, it's a free service. It's a powerful tool. And I think if you can just allow yourself to be a little vulnerable like I am here today, it'll give you great insight into where you're at, where you want to be, and where you want to go. With that said, I'm just going to share a little bit about my story. I don't look like the typical veteran. I don't sound like the typical veteran, but I am a veteran. I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a very small island. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about it, but it's the last Caribbean island. You swim 50 minutes and you're in Venezuela. That's how close it is to South America. And people look at you, don't look like you're from the Caribbean. The Caribbean is a melting pot. It really is. People from all over the world ended up moving to the Caribbean. And how I got there was 5 generations ago, after slavery was abolished, the British needed workers. And so they went to India and they brought a whole bunch of people from India as indentured servants, just a fancy word for slave. And we were the ones that were making the sugar. We were the ones that were harvesting the sugar cane. And so 5 generations ago, that's how this Indian kid ended up in the Caribbean. Fast forward a little bit, you know, the culture is a mixing, melting pot of Indian, African, Syrian, Spanish, British. It's really a melting pot. And if you go to Trinidad, everybody just looks different. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, but there's only so much economically and socially that you can do. There's a very few spots, and a very brilliant population. About 1 million people live there, and there's not much opportunity for upward growth. And that's something that we take for granted living here in America. We've got so much opportunity here in America. I mean, that's the power of freedom. That's the power of what our Constitution has built, and that's why it's so important. How did I become a veteran? How did I join the service? Well, I was living in New York. I was 17 years old, living in my mom's living room, and she had remarried and moved to New York when I was 11, and when I was 17, I graduated from school, and I moved to go live with her. Because of that opportunity. She promised, oh, America is great. And you grow up on TV and you're seeing how America is great, America is great, America is great. So I moved to New York from the Caribbean into New York City, okay? And we lived in Queens, just right outside of Manhattan, right across the Queensboro Bridge. And here I am, all excited to be in America, Nikes and Reeboks and everything else. All that stuff that's important to a 17-year-old. And then she goes, well, you got to go get a job. So you got to help out. You got to get a job. You're a man now. So I got a job at Wendy's flipping burgers. Okay. And I was doing that for a year. I was at LaGuardia Airport on my feet, flipping burgers, 12 hours. And that does something to your mind. That does something to your heart. That does something to somebody who grew up in the Caribbean, free and happy. It really takes its toll on you. One of the things that I noticed, working at the airport was these guys in these crisp white uniforms would walk by all the time. And here I am in my greasy clothes. I mean, it was so bad when I took the bus. I had to take 2 buses to get home from LaGuardia back to Queens. People would just move away. That's how bad I stunk. And it wasn't because I don't shower. I shower every morning and I shower every night. It's because of that grease from working on the fryer, working on the grill. And I kept seeing these guys walking by in these white uniforms. And one day, close to the end of my shift, I made myself a little sandwich, chicken sandwich, and I was sitting there eating it. And the guys came and they sat right next to me on the table next to me. And I don't know what it was. Here's a shy kid from the Caribbean. His English, is not polished. And I finally broke down, and it's been a year. And I asked them, I said, what do you guys do? And they both looked at each other, and they both looked at me, and then they both looked at each other again. And then I remember that smile that came across to them. He said, well, we're Navy recruiters. Oh boy, I didn't have a chance, did I?
That's funny.
Somebody was looking out for me that day. Somebody was looking out for me that day. I was, in a pretty bad place, depression-wise, working that grill for a year, not knowing what am I going to do with my life. So the guys took me over. He said, "What time do you get off work?" "Oh, I'm off work right now." They took me over to MEPS, gave me a test. Apparently, I did good on it. And because they asked me, "Hey, are you a citizen?" "No, I'm not a citizen. I have my green card." "Okay, you got his green card." He passed the exam. It was the ASVAB. And they went down the list of things that I can potentially do. And I mean, these guys were licking their chops because I scored pretty good on that test. They had to match up my intelligence level with security clearance. And they said, they went down the list, I don't qualify for nukes. I don't qualify for certain jobs that have security issues. But what I did qualify for was healthcare. They said, "Hey, you want to be a doc? You want to join the Navy and be a corpsman?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be a corpsman." When does it leave? No, this was December. This was Christmas in New York time. They said, "Well, the next class doesn't start till July, but we got something similar. It's the same rating. It's dental tech." I said, "Well, when does that leave?" "Oh, it leaves in about a month." "Okay, I'll take that." I just wanted to get out of there. So, I ended up coming home and telling my mom, "Mom, guess what? I got a job." She's all excited. "Oh, where'd you get a job?" "I joined the Navy." And her face just went cold. "You better call them and tell them, no, you're not going. You're going to kill yourself." I said, No, Mom, I gotta go. I mean, these guys are going to take care of me. I just feel good about this. And, we had some back and forth, but eventually she came to understand and shipped out to Great Lakes, Chicago, to boot camp in January. And yeah, so after boot camp, I had a rating already, so I already had a school assigned, and I went down to San Diego, went through that training, top of my class, and how they did it there was they present you orders, and I'm looking at the orders, and first gets to pick, second gets to pick next, third gets to pick next. That's how it works. And I'm looking at it, and I go, "Oh, Hawaii, I'll do that." And the chief is just smiling at me and shaking his head. "Well, you got to make a pit stop first." I had to go to Camp Pendleton first before I go to Hawaii. So there I am I thought boot camp was okay. I mean, I was our park there, did pretty well. And then all of a sudden I got to go to FMSS training school. And that's where I got the title doc. It's not because I'm a doctor. It's because I finished that program. Well, they took all my white uniforms away, all my blue uniforms away, gave me some green stuff to wear, and that was that. Sent off to Hawaii, and I joke about it. I say I joined the Navy, but the Marine Corps kidnapped me. And I was out in K-Bay the entire time of my service, just taking care of the base. I was very fortunate. I got to work with some really, really great doctors. And here I am, enlisted guy, making a whole whopping, $500 a month. But, I was taken care of, and I was around people that could elevate me, people that could support me, people that cared about me. And being in the healthcare field was a little bit different than most people's veteran experience, because we're the ones doing a lot of the caring. And, I give great credit to some of my captains. Captain Waterman, rest in peace. He was a Navy, he was a Marine, went back to the Navy. That wasn't enough. He had to be a SEAL. That wasn't enough. Then he had to be a dentist. I said, man, what a path. And then on top of that, that wasn't enough. He had to be a prosthodontist. And, he was my CEO, and he saw something in me. I'm not sure what, but he saw something in me. And he kept supporting me. He kept telling me, go to school, Ragbir. You've got what it takes. Go to school. So, I enrolled in Hawaii Pacific University. It was right off base, and I started taking classes. Turns out I have a knack for it. It's how I really spent my time in my service, is taking care of others, serving others, and in my spare time, I'd study. And it was a difficult time for me in the service. I mean, I was taken care of. I had food, nothing I could eat because I stopped eating meat after working at Wendy's. It was just something about that beef and the bubbling. And yes, your mouth is watering right now, but it did something to my mind. It did something to my mind, to the sense that, I haven't eaten beef since. So, I had a bed, sometimes a cot, sometimes a tent. I had food, I was taken care of, and, I was around people that cared about me. I was around people that supported me, and I supported them as well. And that's really where I like to think my journey began. But I did have a difficult time in the service, and coming down to the close to the end of my service, I joke about it a lot. I say I wasn't quite black, and I wasn't quite white, and I wasn't quite Mexican, and I didn't fit in anywhere. But being doc, you take care of everybody, and the Marines really did a wonderful job taking care of doc. I never had to buy a drink. Never had to want for anything. People knew me on base because I looked different. I act different. People knew me. And for some reason, the Marines wanted to take care of their doc, especially me. And, it was a feeling of belonging that I had not experienced before. And that's something that resonated with me and in my development. Well, coming down to close to the end of my service, I was having a difficult time getting promoted. I had done all the qualifications, but I kept getting passed up for E5. Made it all the way to E4, but just kept getting passed up for E5. And right before 9/11 happened, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go to school. I'm done with the military. When, I had a great chief the first 3 years, and this is where leadership can really affect you. The last year of my service, there was a senior chief now that took over for our duty station. And he gave me a really hard time. And I remember that senior chief was at my A school. And during one of the counseling sessions that they would do, he told me something that really hurt me. He said, Ragbir, you're never going to become anything if you don't, buck up and get with the program. And he wanted me to fit the mold. And it wasn't a mold you can squeeze me into, because I didn't have that paradigm growing up. I didn't have that experience growing up. So, that last year of service really affected my mind, and I left the service honorably discharged. I didn't get into trouble. I stayed quiet and bore it. Finished up school, and then I went back to New York to go to dental school. So here I'm in a doctoral program. I'm a veteran, and I kept it quiet because you don't really brag that you're a veteran in New York. It's not like Texas. People want to measure you up. They want to pick fights with you. New York is a rough place. So I went back to New York, and I kept it hidden that I'm a veteran. Nobody knew I was a veteran. But I remembered a lot of my friends that were in the service, a lot of my Marines, they were from Texas. And all the cool ones were from Texas. All the good ones were from Texas. And they have heart. I mean, they don't have that New York chip on their shoulder, or that, that California loving, or whatever it is there's that je ne sais quoi that people here in Texas have, that thing, a Texas thing. And I decided that when I graduated, I'm going to move to Texas. So I bought a practice down in San Antonio, right out of school. I knew what I was doing, and was working that for a while. And across the street from where I was working, across the street from my office, there was a little Thai restaurant. And I would go in there to have lunch because it was delicious food. Thai food's delicious to me. And there was this little Vietnamese girl that worked as a waitress in there. And I kept flirting with her, kept asking her out. For 2 years, this girl told me no. And it turns out she came from a very strict Vietnamese family, and their family had also moved here after helping the Americans. When she had graduated, she finally decided to go out with me, and we just hit it off. And I asked her, I said, how come how come it took you 2 years to say yes? She said, well, you kept coming in here with all these different women all the time. I said, yeah, but those were clients. That was business meetings. She thought I was dating all the reps because, as you know, these medical companies, these dental companies, they hire, only the best, to sell. So I thought that was funny. I wanted to share that because, I love my wife, and we've been married. We've been married for 13 years now. But it's relevant because when we got married on 11/11/11. At 11/11, I didn't even know it was Veterans Day. I had no clue that was Veterans Day. That's how much I didn't want anything to do with the service or being a veteran at all. At all. We have two wonderful children, Emma and Luke, and they are just spectacular. Emma in particular, she's going to be a handful, but a good handful. I've got to keep that girl engaged because she's one that can stray very easily because she's easily bored. Very, very smart girl. She's already made up her mind. She's going to West Point. I didn't force that on her. She saw some stuff and she said, I want to go to West Point. I want to be a veteran just like Daddy. Well, how did we go from me not getting married on Veterans Day, not even acknowledging Veterans Day, to my daughter wanting to go to West Point? That's where there's another small miracle happened. So I got married. We moved over here to DFW. I sold the practice. Moved over here to DFW, and and opened another practice in Heritage. I remember when Alliance was just cows. I mean, we were one of the first dental offices in the area, and we grew pretty quickly, pretty fast. Was very successful. It was a corporate partnership, so it was well managed, and we did quite well. My wife's family was from around here, and when I decided to get married and start a family, that was important to us, that we move back here to DFW, and that's how I ended up here in the DFW area. We built a house, and we still live in it. It was, we paid $200,000 for the house at the time and built it, and it's I'm not moving. This is my forever home. But at my practice, I'm running around, I'm working hard, I'm making lots of money, corporate success, but there was something missing. I started a young family. And one day, this young man came in, Marine, Brandon Wong. I don't know if you guys know who Brandon is. And he came in as a patient. I'm taking care of him. And I don't know how the conversation started, but he goes, "Hey, doc," he said, "Hey, doc, what, you should get involved with the veterans stuff." And, I was a little hesitant, but Brandon is a special guy. He's very quiet Marine. He's one of those guys that, he's extremely intelligent, very, 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 very good friend. But Brandon actually became my first battle buddy. And, we started hanging out, and okay, this is okay. Usually, I don't like being around veterans because y'all crazy, and and I'm crazy too, right? So, but Brandon wasn't the typical Marine, and we started hanging out, and he started an organization called Veteran Business Circles, and the idea behind the organization was to help young entrepreneurs, veterans, to help them get the LLC formed. Well, it's grown a lot more since then, and we've done wonderful things, and that's a great community. And Zach would come to the meetings every once in a while. It was a pretty good group, and I love being around these business veterans. Zach became a patient of mine, and then one day he asked me, out of the blue, I got a request, "Hey, you want to go help out with Gallon Few?" I was surprised, but I'll do whatever I can. I'll help out whatever I can. And that's one of the things that I've always tried to do, is help out whenever I can, because that's what Doc does. You call and he answers. It's been wonderful being with Gallon Few. It's a different perspective on the veteran community. I try to be as supportive and contribute whenever I can. But there's one aspect with the nonprofits that there's a lot of nonprofit organizations, and you have to find one that means something to you. And the reason why Gallon Few is so near and dear to my heart is because part of the reason why I didn't want anything to do with being a veteran was because I actually sought mental health care when I left the service. I wasn't feeling good about my service and what had happened to me during that time. And I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors. I did it the private route. I had the money. And I valued that privacy in me seeking care for my mental health. And then I come to Gallon Few and I find out all this stuff's free. After I've spent a small fortune to get my mind right, this stuff's free. And I implore you, please take advantage of it, use it, because mental health is so critical. We have so many different aspects to health. We have our physical health. I've lost 25 pounds within the last couple of years being with Gallon Few because I forgot about my mental health. And being here and helping others, I've said it before, is how I treat my pain. This is how I treat my own pain. We all have pain. We have to acknowledge that pain. And I don't know of many organizations where there's licensed professional counselors there to help you. I used to spend $150 an hour, countless hours. It's probably gone up now since inflation. I haven't seen my last counselor in about 2 years. He kind of went Hollywood on me. He's doing a national circuit, and he's doing a lot of work to help mental health community in the Black community on the national stage. And I should probably check in with him. But being with Gallant Few and hanging out around Carl, Tony, Zach, Patrick, and others, you know, I went rock climbing. I would have never done that in my life. I was scared the first time I went up. Halfway through, I was terrified. I wanted to keep going, but my arms gave up. And then I sat down there that day and I said, you know what, I can do this. And the guys supported and encouraged me that day, and man, I made it all the way to the top. And I can't tell you how that felt to make it all the way up to the top. The following weekend, I brought my daughter. She really wanted to go. She begged me. That little monkey just goes straight up there. Crazy. She's just something special. You know, this is a great organization, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Please help keep supporting us, because I'm going to do whatever I can to help this group. Mental health is so critical. The physical doesn't matter. The intelligence doesn't matter. The spiritual doesn't matter. If the mental health isn't right. And, you know, this is our mission. We have 15 years of proven track record. 15 years proven. You know, I want to leave you with one thing. If anything else you take from this talk that I've shared, take the asthma test, please. Go ahead and take that asthma test. It's a valuable tool. And share this information with others, because you don't know who's hurting. You don't know who's hurting and who's not going to be with us next. So if we can do something in support of that mission, please. Thank you.
So I gave him one of our Gallup coins. I know he's probably already got one, but you can find somebody else to give that to. So we're running short on time. That was wonderful. Doc, thank you so much for that message. What I wanted to do was recognize this is the 80th anniversary this last month of the Battle of Iwo Jima. Is my math correct? And we've got a short video that we're going to show you that features Don Graves.
There's a dock in there, by the way, that held the flag up.
This is so many around the world marks a monumental and battle that took thousands of American lives. The raising of that American flag on Iwo Jima, Japan. 5 Marines are in the iconic photo, but many more stood just outside the focus of the lens that day. And that includes a North Texas man who returned to that exact spot recently, and that was the first time back there since that epic, bloody battle back in 1945.
My name is Don Graves. I arrived on Green Beach 1, 3rd wave, on February 19th, 1945 at 8 o'clock in the morning.
With flamethrower in hand, this photo of Don Graves was taken in the first minutes of his arrival in the black sands of Iwo Jima with a 70-pound fuel tank on his back.
2 Marines grabbed me up on my feet. We headed for the beach, which was about 25 feet away, and we hit the sand, tried to bury in, and then all of a sudden the motor started coming.
The Japanese unleashed a ferocious attack. The Marines moved forward, inch by bloody inch. Flamethrower Graves helped lead the charge to rout the Japanese from 11 miles of secret and strategic tunnels.
I go up there, 2 men, one on my left and right, and I pour fire into the hole.
It took 3 days to go just 600 feet. 3 deadly days for the Marines to take the high ground at Mount Suribachi. And in that iconic moment, when those Marines raised the flag, Graves was literally just to one side of the camera lens.
I could have helped raise that flag. You almost saw hell open up its doors because they were infuriated. We put our flag on Japanese soil.
Don Graves watched good friends die. Many of their bodies never recovered, which is why when the Daughters of World War II offered him the rare chance to return to Iwo Jima, he didn't hesitate. March 10th, Graves left DFW. 3 days later, he was back on Iwo Jima, opened just 1 day a year with a short invitation list by the Japanese government. The battlefield, once barren and dry, now lush and green. And Don Graves stood in that very same spot where his fellow Marines had raised that flag. But it was the beach that called, that sinking black sand, where the majority of the nearly 7,000 Marine lives were lost. An image Don Graves can't get out of his head 68 years later.
I can see where in combat, the beach was loaded with machinery of ours and tracks, half tracks and tanks turned upside down, stuck out of the water. It was a disaster all the way to Surabanchi. And I could hear everything. I just stood there. And I looked. I could even hear the voices. They all came back. There was something different about this sand. It isn't just volcanic. You have to realize how many Marine boots dumped on this sand and were buried under it. That's something to think about.
Don Graves is living history, a first-person voice in a battle that changed our world. The return to Iwo Jima gave him closure. The war he fought makes him forever proud to be a United States Marine.
We fought a tough battle, one of the worst. And we beat them. And the kind of kids we were is an example for the kids today to live.
So many guys were just outside the lens that day, and Don Graves was one of them. I wanted to share this with you. Don brought this back, and he was so kind to let me borrow it to share with you guys. This is Sam from Iwo Jima, the very same beach that he came up on in 1945. He grabbed a bottle of this on his way out. He brought it home with him, said he's going to bring this home. He's going to treasure it forever because of the boots and the memories of the men who were with him, who served, who died on that beach that day and the ensuing days of the battle.
And how vivid are his memories to this day.
A great storyteller, and that's a first-person account again. These guys are dying at a rapid rate. They're not going to be with us long, and pretty soon it's only going to be in the history books. So it's a treasure to be able to have a guy like Don Graves sit down and share that story.
And how special that he got to return to Japan. Thank you very much. Beautiful story.
John? We have, I think, 2 other things to do before we close out today. If I could invite the Devil Dogs to come up. They have a presentation, and any Galaxy board members, please come up. If we can make some room up here. And Nicole, too, yes. And if anybody has a camera or a phone in the back that can take a picture, please do so.
So Zach, who is not present today, is a brother of ours in the Devil Dogs Motorcycle Club. The things that he tells us about Gallant Few touched our hearts. A couple months ago, we decided as a club to do a raffle, and all the proceeds are going to Gallant Few to support this great organization. So I just want to present Gallant Few and all of its members with this cashier's check and say thank you for what you do, and we appreciate everything that y'all do.
You'd like turn around and hand her the check so we can actually get a picture.
Thought you were gonna get away with it.
You got a nice backside, but come on.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you stand up, please? Oh, wait.
All right, before the last thing we do, Doc had mentioned before, and if anybody has questions for him afterwards, please come up. I'm sure he's going to stick around for a minute, and you can ask him those questions. But before we do that, he mentioned the azimuth check, and I wanted to take just a brief minute and tell you about that because it's a tool that we developed now about 10 years ago that gives a holistic assessment of where a person is. Doesn't have to be a veteran, it's a person. and it covers 5 areas of fitness. And they're emotional fitness, physical fitness, spiritual fitness, professional fitness, and social fitness. We like to talk about life being a journey. And you have to know 3 things if you're going to successfully complete a journey, right? First, you got to know where you are. If anybody put into Google Maps, Meet You Anywhere barbecue today, the first thing it said was, what's your starting point? So you got to know where you are, because otherwise the route doesn't matter. Then you got to know where you're going, your objective. Once you have those 2 pieces, now you can put the route together. And what the azimuth check is, it tells you where you are right now today. That's starting point. It's not good or bad. It just is. It's free. And when you look at that, and it's open to anyone to take. We're resourced to work with veterans, right? But what happens when you join the Gallup View community, gallupview.org or azimuthcheck.org to find that site. We'll put those with the video. When you go there, if you are a veteran and you finish that assessment, you get one-on-one contact with one of our staff members. You can choose to take it or not. Some people don't. They just want the results. If you're not a veteran, same thing. You go, you take the azimuth check, you have access to your results through the Gallup View portal, the community portal. So you can, and we encourage people to go once a month, first week of the month, take a new azimuth check. And over time, you have a trend on all 25 statements averaged. You have a trend on each of the 5 areas, physical, emotional, social, etc. And you have a trend on each individual question. And they range from, I believe life is worth living, to I can have a good time without alcohol, to I get outside and enjoy nature, to I have someone who holds me accountable to my fitness goals. Each one of those areas has 5 statements, and they're incredibly important to take a look at. Because when you look at them and you go, you know what, I'm not meeting my personal standard in that area, that motivates you to start doing something. And then the next time you take it, you see a difference. And it really does help. So I encourage everyone to go take the Gallup View Azimuth check. Let's see, last thing. Oh, and one comment on that, because Doc said, be vulnerable. I don't like that word. Veterans don't like that vulnerable word. I like honest. Be honest with yourself, right? When you look in the mirror and you identify where you are in those 5 areas, you have to be honest with yourself about where you really are. Every day I track my calorie intake because I'm trying to get to a certain weight, right? It's super easy to go, nah, those nachos that I had for lunch, I'm not gonna put them in there because there's extra fat in there. And it looks like I made my goal for the day, right? I'm not being honest with myself when I do that. So being honest with yourself is number 1 first step. Andrea, you have a presentation you want to do, and then we'll close it out. So
It was Rachel's birthday.
it was Rachel's birthday. Let's not embarrass her by singing happy birthday. Okay? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rachel. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Man, we know who's going to be singing the national anthem at the gala. Yes.
Our cupcakes, they're from China, so they're from an icing, FYI. But feel free.
Yeah, so as you leave, please grab yourself a cupcake, and thank you all for being here. Great crowd today. Next month, I don't remember off the top of my head who the speaker is, but it's going to be the second Saturday, and we're going to be right here. So you can still bring some more people. We can squeeze in. We got room. We can bring some chairs in. So thanks for being here, supporting Gallup View, Metroport Veterans Association, and Meet You Anywhere barbecue. All right.